once, and they're both very like each other. So there's men, all kinds of men that have experienced lots of different kinds of men over the years, and there's alcohol, and there's been a lot of that as well over the years, including that one. So I got to thinking and I realized that every single alcohol is exactly like some kind of guy I've encountered. You don't believe me? I can prove it. So let me tell you how it starts. It started with a breezer. Yes. All of us started with breezers, don't lie. Okay? I know there is no breezer on the table, but we all started with breezer. So did I. Breezer was the boy who sat behind me in 4th standard, showed me his notes when we finally went to 7th standard and we were in lab together. All those years later, he sent me an Orkut friend request. I don't really acknowledge him, but he's kind of sweet, so it's okay. When you guys are not looking, I'll say hi to him. That's breezer. Because I'm nice, I'm not like you people pretending that I've never had breezer. Then I grew up a little bit, and then I discovered boys in college, and there was beer. Beer was my best friend. Beer was my buddy. Beer was the guy that I fell asleep next to, but I never really slept with him. I never slept with him. So Beer's the guy who is, unfortunately, always in the permanent friend zone. But he's cool, he's the best friend. Then I grew up a little more, and then I said, now I'm a lady. I get to go out on dates and dress up really nicely. And I want a man who can talk about literature and music, and he's so charming. I want a man who can sweep me off my feet, and that was wine. And wine was so fine, and then I woke up the next day saying, fuck, wine is not supposed to give me a hangover. Wine. Nobody ever talks about wine hangovers. But yeah, that was wine. And then my best friend stepped in and said, you need to stay away from men. Men are bad for you. You need to stay away from alcohol, drink some chocolate milk. That went well for a very short while until we said, let's go partying. And there was this guy on the dance floor, and salsa was very in about 10 years ago. Yes, I'm that old. So there were all these people who were saying, you want a salsa? I'll teach you what a salsa. And the music was too loud to hear anything, but who cares? I don't really want to know what he's talking about. He's wearing this bright, flashy t-shirt and shirt, actually, I think. So vodka was a lot of fun, yeah. Vodka was the heterosexual man. Vodka came in lots of shiny, bright colors, and vodka always ended badly, but that's a phase that you go through. Then I went through a phase where I said, I need to be sensible and I need to concentrate on my career. I will only drink health drinks. No alcohol for a while. And then this guy rode up on a bike with a leather jacket and said, come here baby, and I went off with tequila and I was gone. A few hours later, I was found in the gutter. Somebody put me into an auto. There was no Uber at that time. Somebody put me into an auto and I went home. And then I said, okay, all men are going to be like this, so I'm going to have to figure out how to deal with this. Maybe the problem is that men my age are just not mature enough. I need an older man. I need a wiser man. Whiskey said, cheers, my dear, to maturity. I said, okay, great. Okay, maturity and all. But Whiskey wanted to go to bed at 11. Whiskey didn't approve of my short dresses.
Oh, no.
So I said, okay, I think this is not, I'm not old enough for whiskey yet. Let me go back, let me have a quick fling with tequila. This was before there was Tinder, by the way. So I couldn't just swipe right on all the different alcohols at that time. So I did a few stints with vodka every now and then and a little bit of tequila. And then I said, I'm getting very tired of this. And my friend said, get on to Shadi.com. Shadi.com was also cool at one point of time. I said, Shadi.com? And then she says, yes, Shadi.com is the Indian Tinder. I know people who hooked up on Shadi.com, but respectably. I said, okay, I tried Shadi.com. And I went to Shadi.com and figured out this is what respectable people do.
Yeah.
And we actually ended up in a relationship for about a year, and that was Jin. Jin was very nice. Jin was very gentlemanly. Jin understood me. Jin and I had some really nice conversations, but Jin got a little scared every time I did my feminist piece. And Jin only wanted to do it in the dark. Don't tell her, but I really missed tequila then. So I said, no, darling, this is not quite working. But I brought a ring for you. Jin gets a little teary after you had a few. So it was a little tricky breaking up with Jin. And I said, okay, you know what, this sucks. Tinder has now happened, I'm just going to mix up all the drinks, and you know how that turns out. All of us here have experienced that. So I went through a phase for a while where I said, now maturity has to come my way now, water. I did a few stints with each of these people, never tequila again. And one day I said, I did go out with my gay best friend quite a few times, because liqueur looked good with the nice dresses I was wearing then, but it wasn't quite my thing. It turned out I was not gay. So one day I decided I'm going to go out and give myself a party. It's my birthday. So I went to a pub on my own and I said, let me check out what's happening. What's been happening in the world while I've been getting knocked left, right, center with all these men and alcohols. And I saw this cute guy standing in a corner, and so I put on my best pose. And I looked around and he's not looking at me. Okay, alright. Then he comes along and I say, yeah, okay, bring it on, waiting for the stupid pickup lines. And he says, excuse me, that's my bill over there. I go, okay, he doesn't seem to notice me, but he looks vaguely familiar. And so I start a conversation with him because I'm a modern woman. I can start a conversation with a guy. And I say, don't I know you from somewhere? And he says, yeah, I think you were in the gutter a few years ago. I helped you find an auto. I say, oh yeah, that was you. And okay, he doesn't look judgmental. So I said, let's sit down unless you're with somebody. And he says, no, not at all. So we have a nice conversation and it's going on great. And I think he's going to ask me for my number, but he doesn't. I said, fine, whatever. Men today, you know. I go home and I get up in the morning and no hangover, no heartache, nothing. This is amazing, right? So I forget about him. Then a few weeks later, I decide to do the same thing again. And I think, wow, I'm so mature. Who needs men? Who needs alcohol? Who needs anyone, anything? I go there again and he's sitting there with a book this time. Slightly pretentious, carrying a book to a bar, but that's fine. So we sit down and have a nice conversation again. At some point of time, we do hook up, but he's very normal and he's nice about it. It's an Indian guy who doesn't get all about it. I say, okay, but I'm not going to fall in love because we are too old for all this nonsense. So we have a few more non-dates and a few more non-conversations, and before we know it, we seem to be getting into a relationship. And that is how I went on to become Mrs. Ram.